Well, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. We are into episode number 2. Yes, episode number 2 of a 3-part series of solar installations here inside the Philippines, including Villa Feliz, our neighbors across the street, and our neighbors one street over behind us. So today, what we are going to emphasize on, what we are going to focus on is the completed installation. We're going to get all those panels installed, we're going to get all that electronics installed, and we're going to do something called commissioning. Commissioning has to do with making sure everything is working and we go ahead and make our final payment to the solar installers. Well, that's what today's episode is all about. So let's go ahead and get today's episode started. Now, without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Now, where we left off in our last episode, it had to do with putting some of the hardware, the roofing hardware. I believe the last episode, we got some of the railing done that will support the solar panels and some of the solar panel installation on Villa Feliz. Across the street, we're still waiting. We were still waiting for the concrete on the ballast to harden. We're going to talk a little bit about that different type of roof style at our Canadian neighbors across the street. In the first episode, we also saw that all the solar panels were installed on our neighbors one street behind us, but for the fact that they still don't have one of the rooms completely installed, it's going to slow down our progress on doing updates on that house. But we're still going to capture as much as we possibly can. So today's episode, as I said in the intro, is really going to focus on the complete hardware install, both on the roof and the electronics inside the areas that are going to house those electronic components. So now that we know all the things that we're expecting for today's episode, let's go ahead and get started. Now, we have the electrical crew on site as well, and they're going to be working down in our basement a little bit today. You can see they have some of the wiring here, but what I want to do is I want to walk across the street to Casa V. And Casa V, what we're going to do, we're going to go up on the roof. I want to show you something that differentiates this build, the solar panel installation build on a flat roof that's concrete, as opposed to tile, regular tile that you would normally see, and like what we have up here. Of course, you saw we did the L brackets. The L brackets that are mounted with a stainless steel bolt that goes down into the C-purlins inside the roof. I want to show you how you will do something a little bit different on a concrete roof. Before we actually go up on the roof, I just want to stop by the garage. I just want to show you the electrical installation that's been done so far. The inverter has been installed, and this inverter will accept a maximum of 10.4 kilowatts of DC from the solar panels on the roof, and it will provide 8 kilowatts of AC power to the home system. And it gets power also from battery backup storage. It charges the batteries, and these are the power banks that are on both sides right here. And the power banks will also provide power during the evening hours when there's no sun for the solar panel collection. So this will be stored power for the evening time. And lastly, it looks like we have a circuit breaker panel inside here, the circuit breaker panel that goes from the battery power walls here through the breaker system right here into the inverter. Let's go up on the roof from the little access cage right here and ladder and take a look at the ballast that they installed on the top of the concrete roof. So you can see this is quite different than what we have on our roof over there. We need some type of weight and something to attach to on a concrete roof such as you have here. You don't want to use the L brackets because the L brackets don't provide enough lift above the main floor in case there's a lot of water sitting up here while the water is draining through some of the downspouts. So you can see these are the ballasts. They will anchor the solar panels to these ballasts on the top of the roof. Now, I can see waterproofing has already been done here. I don't know how many coats they're going to put on, but something that's very important, if you do this type of system on the top of a concrete roof, make sure the interface between the existing slab and the ballast itself, you have a good coating of waterproofing so that water doesn't get up underneath this area and go down into the house. So the guys from Go Solar here are doing their final commissioning of the system. We had to have a little bit of assistance for the batteries. The batteries actually had to have some firmware updates before they would actually operate correctly with the inverter, the PV solar panels, and our electricity company, the Bottleneck utility company. So they're going to go ahead and clean up a couple of the wires, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up to the inverter, and I want to show you the testing that we are doing during commissioning. And this is very important, that you do full function testing of your system to know the capacity of the system that you have, if it will handle the load that you're putting upon it. And what's nice about this system up here, this inverter, it will give you a very simplistic, a very intuitive picture of what's actually going on with your system. So as soon as they get this in, we'll go up and we'll take a closer look. I just want to show you what we're doing for this final test. In the final test, we have like all the heavy, extremely power-hungry items inside our house powered up right now. We have the 3 horsepower aircon on there right now, and we got it set down to about 23 degrees centigrade. We have this aircon, which is a 2.5. It's set to 23 degrees. We also have one upstairs in our master bedroom. It's turned on right now. It is 23 degrees. I have water boiling. You can see I have water boiling right now on the stove. I have the oven running right now. The oven is set to about almost 375 degrees. I have the coffee maker on. Of course, we have all the fans running inside the house. Fans there. I have outside in the backyard the pool pump. Our pool pump, you can see the waterfall. You can see the waterfall running back. There you go, on our pool. So every single one of the high amperage items are done. Let's go downstairs and take a look at what is doing the effect on our new solar system, and how much electricity we're actually using from the solar and how much we're using from our utility company, Bottleneck. This is the graphic display that they have on the inverter that we have here. And the name of this inverter is DEYE, D-E-Y-E. I don't know, how did you pronounce it?
The 8 kilowatt.
DEYE. Okay, DEYE. Is that Chinese? Is that from a Chinese company? I think it's Chinese. Pretty much everything is from China these days. Okay, so I want you to look at the graphical interface, and it's very intuitive. We have the grid. This comes from our utility company, Bottleneck. We have our house. This is the consumption that we're using at our house. We have the PV cells over here, which is how much power we're actually bringing into the house from the PV cells up on the roof. Remember, we have 18 PV cells up there, and we have these newly installed battery backups right here. 5.2 kilowatts of storage on each one of these. So we have them all turned on right now. So everything is functioning. We could get energy from our Bottleneck company, our utility, our PV cells, and also our battery. But look, if you can see the number here that we're consuming right now from our utility company, with everything, including all these lights that we have down here. It was 0.02, and I'll explain to you some of the reasons why we're pulling a tiny power every now and then from the utility company. But we are pulling 3.41 kilowatts from our solar panels, 3.6 kilowatts, 4.29 right now. They're doing some sharing, balancing inside here to be able to supply the need that we have right here of 7.48, 6.93. It will change based on when things are going on and off inside our house. So basically you can see what this is telling me. This is telling me during this time of day, with the solar panels, with our battery, and with the huge amount of electricity that we're using right now, we're not using anything. Practically zero is what we're using from our utility company. Did I get that right, guys?
Yes, sir. All right.
So there is a couple things that's going on today. Today on our side, we are installing a 4th unit. We originally put three units inside here, and the 3 units at about 5, they're a little over 5 kilowatt hours, will give us about 15 kilowatt hours of energy overnight. That's when the sun goes down till the sun comes up in the morning. But we generally use probably around 18 kilowatt hours, maybe about 18 kilowatt hours in that time period. So what we were finding out was the 3 of these would probably give up with energy probably around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to go ahead and add one more unit, which will give us a total of a little over 20 kilowatt hours, hoping that this will satisfy our nighttime desire for energy here. So that's what's being done right now. They're going to go ahead and finish installing this. Then across the street over at our Canadian neighbors install, I think they're going to be doing something with the panels. I don't know if they're just going to be doing the brackets and then the panels, or if they're going to be able to do all that today. We'll do an update over there as well. Now I got to share this with you. This is a perfect opportunity to share an experience that just happened here. Of course, we have the new battery right here, so we now have a battery bank of 4. If you look up here, you can see the little red X right here. That means we don't have bottleneck. We are on a brownout. Normally, where it says house net up here, this is when we would have the bottleneck would be up, our utility company. Well, we didn't, and what happened is when they installed this last battery, as a precaution before they did anything, they had everything turned off here. So what happened, we had no batteries, we had no bottleneck, our utility company, so the inverter will not function without power from either the backup batteries, these, or from the grid. So what happened, this shut down. Luckily, in the back room, remember our old handy dandy standby EcoFlow. Our EcoFlow, we just turned it on, and we flipped one breaker out here, one breaker, and that's what this breaker is for right over here. I need to mark this EcoFlow. Turned it on, and we had all of our power was back on again. And there is a automatic transfer switch in here that goes between the EcoFlow and all of this. And this is sort of like a transfer switch between the grid and the solar panels and the battery that would go to that. So it's all of this, or it's the EcoFlow. So we had power. So we have the backup to the backup actually worked. And it happened, we weren't planning on doing it, but it worked great. And then when the batteries came back online, the engineer came in and actually turned a button to put these back online again. It converted over back to here. And you can see what we're doing. We're using battery power right now from the batteries. That's satisfying the requirements inside the house. And we have a little bit of power coming from the solar panels on the top, but it's raining like crazy outside, and we are getting about 310 watts right now from panels that are in a kind of a rainstorm right now. I had the guys from Go Solar over here on our Canadian neighbor's rooftop, and they're installing the mounting hardware for the solar panels. And you see the difference between Villa Feliz over there, the way we did all the solar panel installation, and what you see over here is they did something called ballasts here. And these ballasts on a flat roof like you have right here just lift up the panels far enough so they don't get any damage from any water that's settling up here as well. So they're drilling directly, or self-expanding bolts inside here, the anchors. That's how they're mounting it up here. But anyway, I'm gonna get down. It's a lightning, and it's lightning here, and I gotta get away from here. I gotta get back to the safetiness of Villa Feliz.
Exercise ka mag-isa.
Now there you go. We have 2 out of 3 solar systems installed, online, commission, ready to go. And we're gonna start collecting as much of that free energy as possible. Now our third house, the one at our neighbors on the street directly behind us, they're not completed yet because they can't install the electronics because the room is not ready yet to accept the electronics. Even the walls don't have plastic coating in there. So once that gets done, we'll do a follow-up in a later episode. But what we're going to do right now, we're going to look forward to the very next episode. And the next episode is going to be what I call the proof in the pudding. We're going to start collecting some data, some real-time data on how well the performance of this solar system is actually doing. And what we're going to do in the next episode, if you're a tech person, we're going to be talking about all specs, the specs of all the system. We're going to be talking about the specs about different types of solar panels. We're going to be talking about inverters. We're going to be talking about potential cost savings. How much does it cost to actually install one of these systems? How much of the system do you actually need? So we're going to get into all those details in the very next episode. Well, I hope you're enjoying so far the first couple of episodes that we produced, and I hope you look forward to our very next episode. Let's go ahead and close this episode out and get ready for the very next one. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please share, and if you have not subscribed, just click on that little MPID dream heart in the bottom right hand side of your screen. You'll be subscribed, and if you ring that bell, you'll be notified the next time I upload a new video. So until such time from right here in the very beautiful Philippines, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.